So now we'll talk about 5 action steps that you can take to actually get this happening inside your business. Step 1 is listing out all of the possible systems, and it's a little bit like just doing the brain dump to get it out of your head. But here's just a way to think about it. Break your business up into maybe these 4 categories: finance, human resources, sales, and operations. So finance is all about the invoicing side of things. It's about job costings and purchasing, all that sort of stuff, depending on what it is that you're doing. Human resources, that's around hiring and payroll and those sorts of things. Sales and marketing, that's around how do you actually drive traffic, what are your processes and procedures for that, and how do you convert them, what's your actual sales process, and then finally operations, that's how do you actually deliver on the work. It's just a good little mental model for you to think about the different areas within your business. Then the next step is the first system you need to create is the system for creating systems. I know it sounds a little bit funny there. All it is a process by which you document and create your own processes and procedures. Now, I'll give you mine, so you don't even have to design yours. This will be the first system. I haven't yet made the site very sexy, but it does what it needs to. It's got a name and an email address. You can head to System for Systems, and I'll email you a PDF of our system for creating systems. And the reason you start with that one first is because that's what you can give to a team member to start to document your processes and procedures. And even though I like detail and those sorts of things, I'm really not a detailed person. Well, I kind of am. I'm a bit OCD. I understand that, but I don't like doing it. But it has to be done a certain way. So one of the first tasks for the way that we create systems is I'll record myself doing the task, or a team member. Like, that's step 1 in architecting a system, is just to record you doing it. Then you can pass it to another team member that'll then start to document the processes and procedures behind you. So it makes a very easy way for you to do it. Because as a business owner, you're like, oh, when am I going to find time in the day to do systems when I'm having trouble just dealing with my day-to-day clients? Who's going to have time in the day to make systems, just like Dave said? So using the system for systems will help. And then that leads to step number 3, which is getting your core systems in place. And it's important to not go too hog wild with this. You want to make sure that you don't need a system for how to take out the rubbish. Like, you don't absolutely document everything in your business. Find the core functions that are most important and start with those first. I oftentimes like to think, what don't I enjoy, or what's repetitive, what could be easily delegated. And typically speaking, the things that you create systems for last are things that surround your unique ability. So if you're a graphic designer, it's you doing the graphic design elements. If you're a web designer, or depending on whatever you are, that's usually the last section. Try and create systems around everything else first, and then you can move to that. I know, I'll use Mike as an example. Mike's a systems guy as well. Like, he gets systems way back when from E-Myth days, and it's kind of firmly in his mind. And when he started really getting systems in place for his business, he went like completely the other way and systemized everything. And I remember you talking about sort of that created a little bit of a challenge for the team to actually use the systems, find the systems when they wanted it, and it was like over documentation. So even though once you get excited about systems, you just want to make sure that you approach it in picking the most important ones and the ones that are going to have the biggest impact. You don't need a system for everything. And then we move to step 4 in the 5-step process, is to have it centrally stored. So we used to use Dropbox, we used to use Edit Me, Google Docs. I mean, I've tried them all. They've all got their problems to do with permissions and sharing and a whole bunch of different things. So much so that we ended up designing our own solution called systemHUB, and that's where we store all of our standard operating procedures. At the moment, it's still in that beta phase, so I'll be around for the rest of the day. If you're interested in being one of the early beta testers, just hand me your business card and then I can follow up and give you some access to this. But it doesn't really matter what you use as long as you've got something in place. Maybe you just start off with Dropbox, just to have a central place where you're storing your processes and procedures. And then by having it centrally stored and getting your team into the systems mindset, you want to get them to apply the Kenai principle. Is any Tony Robbins kind of fans? Yes, yes. What does Kenai stand for? Does anyone remember? Yeah, constant, never-ending improvement or innovation, Kenai. And that's really where the value of systems comes. We talked about it being a valuable business asset, and where the true value comes is when the team uses them and they continue to improve them and optimize them. Like they're making little tweaks and they go, oh, this can be done better this way now. So it's a wax on, wax off approach. So there are the 5 steps. List out all of the systems that you could potentially have in your business. Create a system for systems, or you can swipe mine over at systemforsystems.com. Document your core processes, the ones that are most important. Have them centrally stored, and then apply the Kenai principle. There's just probably a few hurdles that you might come up against that you need to overcome. And the biggest one being, you know systems are important now, but it's not urgent, so it is easy for you to delegate. But again, for the right person, there are some easy ways that you can hack this if you think, I don't have time to do systems. And the first one is to apply the KISS principle. So keep it simple, Simon. You want to keep it as simple as possible. Start off by using video to document the first go at the procedure. Then once you've got that, if you've got a system for creating systems, you hand that to a team member and then they create the documentation behind you. And just keep the systems very basic for now. They can evolve over time, just basic checklists. Does anyone want to know the secret for making systems super easy? Just to make sure you're all still there. Yes, yes. The system, well, the easy way is just not to do it. What you could potentially do is delegate it. Make it the responsibility of a team member inside your business to start building out the processes and procedures. So if you're really getting stuck, delegate it down the line. And I've got a friend actually who gave me a fantastic nugget of information. He's built multiple 8-figure businesses, and he told me this, it's genius, particularly if you've got a little bit of a budget and you've got a sizable business that can handle it, you go out and you hire the consultant. Find the expert in that particular area, the guru for accounting or the guru for sales. Get them to come in and you pay them to create your processes and procedures. That becomes an asset within your business. You don't have to create it, and then your team can start following it behind you.